Hello students, good afternoon. In today's class, we shall discuss an alternate method to find out the difference approximations for different derivatives. So generally, we start these finite difference approximations with respect to the Taylor's approximation. So Taylor series terms we have expanded and we have got different expressions. Okay. So we shall show that how to use a polynomial to find the derivatives of any approximations of any derivative of any order. Okay. So I am sharing the material. Just hold on. It is little slow. My computer is little slow. Hold on. Just 1 minute. Wait for something. Giving some problem. So I'm sorry, actually, this computer it got hung. So I had to restart the computer. Okay. So I am sharing the material. So as we have discussed in the previous classes that this polynomial is an algebraic function. This is a finite series. This can be used for approximation of any unknown function. Okay. Whatever be the function, means suppose if you are solving for temperature, if you are solving for velocity or pressure, how the velocity, pressure, temperature, etc. they are changing in the domain that is unknown. We don't know, but we can approximate that. Okay, maybe from one point to another point, the temperature is changing in a linear fashion, or it may be changing in a quadratic fashion. Okay, so that linear way or quadratic way, whatever these ways we think of, these are actually some different forms of the polynomial. So polynomial is an algebraic expression. This is a finite series. It is different from power series. Power series is an infinite series, but when we talk about the polynomial, we have finite number of terms. Okay. So lowest possible polynomial is a straight line with constant slope, means zero slope. Okay. When you say y equals to a, so here we are showing a polynomial. So this is the symbol for polynomial, capital P, in one variable. Polynomial in one variable. So it can be in two variables, three variables. So it is a one-dimensional expression. So if you have a polynomial of nth order or nth degree, then we shall have n plus 1 terms in the polynomial. So number of terms are finite. Because of that, we say that this is different from power series. So we have n plus 1 terms. The first term is x to the power with the coefficient of x to the power 0. So x is the variable. So we have a plus bx plus cx square plus dx cube, etc., up to cube x to the power n. So a, b, c, d, etc. These are the constant terms. So in our present work, in present discussion, our objective is to calculate these coefficients a, b, and c as per our requirement. Okay. So in this picture, this is a representative picture where we are showing an unknown function by the solid line. So this is a solid line. This is an unknown function. For this, suppose this u is temperature. So in this one-dimensional domain, maybe it is changing in this manner. So we don't know how is it really changing. So we can assume that it is changing by some polynomial expression. Maybe it is changing as a plus bx, or maybe it is changing as a plus bx plus cx square, or maybe it is even changing in a cubic form. Okay. So we have considered this polynomial by the dotted line. We have plotted this polynomial curve, and then on this domain we have taken two nodes. One is at xi, ith node. Other node is at I plus 1th location, xi plus 1. So the grid size is delta x. So at this point xi, the value of the variable is u at xi. This is ui, and value at xi plus 1. Value at the next node, it is ui plus 1. Okay. So what we do, suppose if you look into this expression, this u is, let us consider that p is u. Let us consider, this is a general expression. Let us consider this p is u. So we can say that unx, n is the degree or the order of the polynomial. So we can write unx equals to a plus bx plus cx square, etc., etc. Now we can take derivative of this term. Okay. So if we take derivative of this term, we shall get du dx. So this du dx terms, we can take the derivative, whatever the polynomial you are considering. Suppose you are considering a polynomial of order 2, so it will be a parabola. So if you are considering a second order or second degree polynomial, then your Pnx will be a plus bx plus cx square. Okay. In that case, dp and dx, it will be, this will be 0. So it will be b plus 2cx. Okay. Now this dp and dx, this is the derivative for which you are doing either forward difference or backward difference or the central difference. It means that when if you take the derivative here, so after taking the derivative, whatever you will get here, that will represent the finite difference expression. Okay. So I want to say that, for example, when you are writing du dx equals to, this is the expression first order forward difference. Okay. So when you are writing du dx, so you can see that this is a constant, this is a constant, and this is a constant. So delta x is an input parameter. So this is a known value, input value. This is a constant quantity. This is a constant quantity. It means that this entire portion, this is a constant quantity. So du dx will be a constant when it is possible if your ux is a plus bx form, x plus b form. So if your ux, this one is for the degree, first degree polynomial. So you can take ux equals to a plus bx. This is the straight line, y equals to mx plus c kind of straight line. So if you take the derivative of this term, so you are getting dux dx equals to b. So dux dx equals to b. B is a constant. Okay. So this is that particular constant. So in this polynomial, you have to calculate a and b. And when you know the values of a and b, some way you find some simultaneous solutions. Okay. And then you are getting this expression. So we shall show it. So if you see here in this polynomial expression, here x is a known quantity. X, you know the value of x. So you don't know the values of a, b, c, d, etc., etc. Since x is a known quantity, but a, b, c, d, these are unknown quantities, the right hand side becomes overall an unknown quantity, and left hand side is also an unknown expression. Okay, so our objective is that you have to calculate a, b, c, d, etc. So if you know the values a, b, c, and d, then this left hand side will also be a known quantity. So if you have to calculate a, b, and c, you will need three unknowns a, b, and c, and three unknowns. You need three equations for solving. So three simultaneous equations, they can give you three unknowns. So the trick in this polynomial method is that we choose the variable to follow some form that is a subset of this expression, and from there, depending on the order of accuracy, we find out, we set some equations based on this, and then we find out the coefficient values of a, b, and c, and then we can take a derivative of this, and then we can find out this expression. Okay, so the logic, how we proceed it, so the simplest way, if you think of that, when you are going for the forward difference or backward difference formula, so what I want to say, suppose we have, here these terms are missing, suppose you have this derivative du dx. For du dx, we have taken first order forward difference, we have taken first order backward difference, we have taken second order central difference. Now, if you want, you can find out second order accurate forward difference formula of du dx. Okay, so if you suppose du dx, when you are using Taylor's direct method, then you are getting first order accurate formula for du dx. Okay, so by using Taylor series also with some trick, you can find out second order accurate expression for du dx, but it will be easy by the method of polynomials. So when you have to find some arbitrary kind of requirement you have, then better use method of polynomials. So you want second order accuracy, maybe forward difference, maybe backward difference of this derivative, then you can use the method of polynomials, or you can even use the Taylor series, but with some tricks. Then you can get third order accurate du dx formula. Okay, so it means that whatever be the order of accuracy of any derivative, you can find it out by using the method of polynomials. Okay, so let us just discuss how do we select the polynomial, which polynomial we shall use. So let us first go to the first order accuracy forward difference formula. So first order accurate formula, this is this formula. So in this formula, this is already first order accurate. We have coefficient terms. These are these are not coefficient terms. These are the variables, but constant terms. So we have two nodes, I plus 1 and I. So it means that for du dx first order accurate, you need two nodes. One is ui plus 1 or ui plus 1, and one is ui. These two nodes are required. So if you want to go for second order accurate formula of du dx, you will need one more node. So it means that when you have the first order accurate formula du dx, you have two nodes. Since you have two nodes, with two nodes you can draw a straight line. Okay, with two nodes you can draw a straight line. So the first level of straight line, this is the constant straight line, p equals to a. This is a constant straight line of zero slope. So if you take p equals to a plus bx, then we say that n is 1. So n is becoming 1. When n is 1, we say x to the power 1. So it becomes p1x equals to a plus bx. So for two nodes, you can write two equations. You can solve two unknowns. So when you are getting two nodes in this forward difference formula or backward difference formula, you are actually assuming that between these 2 points, I and I plus 1, this u is changing as a straight line. So if u is changing as a straight line, the equation of the straight line is y equals to mx plus c. So y equals to, if it is y, this is mx and this is c. So y equals to mx plus c. This is a special form of the polynomial you can get from here. So it means that with the minimum possible definition of this polynomial method, you can have two nodal points. With two nodal points, you can calculate two coefficients. Two coefficients are used for the straight line. So the minimum possible finite difference, it is giving you equation of a straight line between the nodal points. Now, if you want the second order accuracy of this du dx expression for forward or backward difference, in that case, you have to increase the number of nodal points by 1. So if you are going in the forward direction, so you have I and I plus 1, but you have to also include one another nodal point. So that will be xi plus 2. So you need 3 nodes. So these things we told for the central difference. So order of accuracy is increasing. The number of terms you have to increase. So number of terms, here there are 2 terms. If you want it to be second order accurate, there will be 3 terms. If you want third order accurate, there should be 4 terms. But in all these terms, you will get ui plus 1, ui plus 2, ui plus 3. This kind of terms, they will keep on coming. So some linear combination of different u values. Okay. So when you have 3 nodal points, for second order accuracy, you have 3 nodal points. So 3 nodal points will be used to write 3 equations. We have 3 coefficients. So in these 3 nodal points, you can get the polynomial with a, b, and c as the unknown. So this it will be p2x. So n will be equals to 2. So this n equals to 2 will give you a parabola. So it is p2x. So p2x equals to a plus bx plus cx square. So this will be your polynomial, and you have to calculate. Then this is your generic equation. This equation you will write in all the nodes, at this first node, at the second node, and at the third node. When you write this equation at these 3 nodes, you get 3 simultaneous equations with a, b, and c as the unknown quantities. So you can calculate a, b, and c in terms of the nodal values. So these are known as the nodal value. Okay, these are the nodes. So this ui plus 1, ui plus 2, etc., etc. These are known as the nodal values. So our objective is that in the polynomial, when we calculate the coefficients, we actually calculate some combinations of these nodal values. And then once we solve these unknown coefficients, we put those values here, and then we get that Pnx becomes some combination of ui plus 1, ui plus 2 as a function of x. Then you can take derivative here, and then you can easily do it. Okay. So this is the logic of the polynomial method, that whatever the foundation you already have based on forward and backward difference or central difference, based on that, what will be the appropriate degree of the polynomial that you have to decide from this expression. Okay. So if you want second order accuracy, forward or backward difference, then you have to go for the 3 nodal points. If you are going for the 3 nodal points, with 3 points you can get curves, but you are getting the parabola as the best curve, a plus bx plus cx square. So our unknowns here are a, b, and c. So these things are written here. Okay. So when we are going for the 2 nodal point cases, xi and xi plus 1, in that case, with 2 points, you can draw a precise straight line. Okay. So if you are drawing a straight line, this kind of non-zero slope is there. It has some slope. So this is the expression coming with y equals to mx plus c. So m and c, suppose this is mx and this is c. So m and c, these are the unknown quantities. These unknown quantities you have to find out. So if you are taking ux equals to p1x, x to the power 1, because of that it is 1. Okay. So this is the generic form. Then if you are taking this term, we can write it in this manner actually. Then you will understand things. Suppose if for forward difference or backward difference, so let us consider forward difference. So if we are considering, if we are writing u1x equals to a plus b plus ax, for example, this is a plus bx, it is okay. So one is b and this is ax. U1 means this first degree polynomial. So it will be x to the power 1, x to the power 1. So this is not at node 1, it is the order of this polynomial for u. So this is a constant. You can see here, this is the slope. Okay. So this slope is ui plus 1 minus ui by h. Okay. So you know the coordinate, what is the slope? Slope equals to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So this is the same thing. Slope equals to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. So this is tan theta. This is the m. Okay. and this is the x, and this is the constant. So slope is constant for a straight line. So this is a constant quantity. If you take the derivative of this term, then you will find that du dx equals to forward difference expression, ui plus 1 minus ui divided by h. So this is the forward difference formula. So if you use this polynomial method in this way, you will find it your u1x, it will have this form. So if you find the solution from here, so a means it will be k, some kind of value, and b will be this quantity, ui plus 1 minus u1 by h. So when you take the derivative of this, you are getting the forward difference formula. Okay, so this is the background for this polynomial method, and polynomials we are using in one dimension only. Okay, in this case we shall not go for any mixed derivative. So here, if we want to find out the second order accurate formula for du dx, let us consider the forward difference cases. So as I was telling you, you need 3 nodal points. Okay, because for first order accuracy we needed 2 points, I and I plus 1. For second order accuracy, second order accuracy means more accuracy. So when we say first order accuracy, it is a poor accuracy case. When we tell second order accuracy, third order accuracy, fourth order accuracy, we actually get less error in our solutions. We increase the accuracy of our solutions, so we get better results. So first order accuracy generally we don't use in our CFD solutions. Whenever we are going for practical applications, we are at least using second order accuracy in space and time. Okay, in time also we talk about the accuracy. So in time, second order accuracy is a good accuracy, and in space you can go either with second order or with third order accuracy. Okay, so let us come back to what we are discussing to find the second order accuracy. Now with 3 points we are getting 3 equations, and that is the equation of a parabola. So when we are writing that ux, this is the quadratic equation. Okay, you know this quadratic equation. So this is a parabola. So y equals to ax square plus bx plus c. So this parabola we are drawing here. Okay. So here in this expression, this is 2 because this degree is 2. This is not at node 2. There is nothing as node 2. So this is the degree of the parabola. So degree of the polynomial. So here we have 3 unknowns a, b and c, and we have to use some solver to find out a, b and c. So what we are doing, whatever be the function actual profile, whatever be the actual profile, it is not important. We assume that within this domain in the x direction, this parabola is representing this unknown quantity. So we have 3 nodal points of interest, ith point, I plus 1th point, I plus 2th point. This is the extra node we have shown, and the grid size is delta x. Okay, so we are considering uniform grid. So this is delta x or h, and this is the parabola. So this is the nodal value. At this node, at the ith node, the value of the function is ui. So ui is known as the nodal value. At the I plus 1th node, value of this variable is ui plus 1. So ui plus 1 is the nodal value here. Similarly, we have ui plus 2 as the nodal value. So we have coordinates as the known quantities, nodal values as unknown quantities but as constants, and our a, b and c we have to calculate. We need to represent this a, b and c in terms of nodal values. It means we want to represent, we want to find an expression of a in terms of ui plus 1, ui plus 2. Similarly for b and c also we want to find out expressions in terms of ui plus 1, ui plus 2, so that when we get the final expression of du dx, at the bottom we get h for x, at the numerator for u we get some kind of linear combination of ui plus 1 and ui plus 2. Okay, so this is the question, that if you are finding the second order accurate FWD or BWD formula, what will be the expression for the numerator? At the denominator we know that for x h will come, and this is already the question that we must get second order accuracy. The question mark is that what kind of function, what is the appropriate relation between ui plus 1 and ui plus 2 that you will put here. Okay, now all these points xi plus 1 and xi plus 2, they are giving you the values ui plus 1 and ui plus 2. So these coordinates, this is a point on this curve. The coordinate of this point is xi comma ui. Here the point coordinate is xi plus 1, ui plus 1, and so on. So we satisfy this equation with these coordinates, and then we can generate three coupled equations. Those equations we can solve. Okay, so here once we get this u as this parabola, we can take the first derivative, second derivative, whatever we want. But in this discussion, we are talking only about the first derivative. Okay, so u equals to this expression. So du dx equals to b plus 2cx. So du dx at any arbitrary node I equals to b plus 2c into x at arbitrary node I. So this is a constant, b is a constant. So b at I or b at I plus 1 and b at I plus 2 will not make it something different. So this b is same or c is same at any node. These are just constants. So we are satisfying the coordinates, okay, these coordinates in this equation, and we are getting three expressions. Okay, so at this first nodal point, wherever there is x, you put xi. Okay, so here this is the nodal, this will give you the nodal value. At the first point, your nodal value is ui. So u is ui equals to a plus b xi. Okay, at this particular point, at ith point, x is xi. So b into xi plus c xi square. Similarly, at the other points, xi plus 1, you are getting the nodal value in terms of wherever there is x, you substitute the coordinates of the second node. Okay, and similarly, we are doing for the third nodal point. So we have three simultaneous equations where a, b, and c, these are the unknown quantities. So x is always an input variable. So this is the coefficient matrix. These three equations we are writing in the matrix form. So this is a 3 by 3 square matrix where this is the coefficient matrix of known variables. Okay, this is known quantity and this is also known quantity. If it is this right hand side term vector, it is a known vector. So only unknown terms are a, b, and c. So you can easily understand from here that when you find out a, b, and c, these solutions, it will be some functions of u and x. Okay, so here what we shall do that for simplification, to make this calculation simple, we shall consider that this is the reference point, the reference node, and this also matches with the origin of the coordinate system. So we are solving it in Cartesian system, so we can treat it as if this particular point, this is matching or this is representing the origin of the coordinate system. So if it is the origin, then we can take xi equals to 0. So if xi equals to 0, what happens that if xi equals to 0, then we are our situation, our first equation, it becomes too much simplified. Okay, so that we are showing here. If we are putting xi equals to 0, if this is 0, then xi plus 1 equals to delta x, and xi plus 2, all the distances are measured from 0, then it will be 2 delta x. So it will be 2h. So wherever, so with this simplification, wherever there is xi, you put there 0. Wherever there is xi plus 1, you put delta x or h. And wherever there is xi plus 2, you put there 2 delta x or 2h. And then you can make simplification. Okay, so that we are doing here. In the first equation, wherever there is xi, we are making it 0. So we are getting 1 0 0 as the first equation. So if you look into this equation, in this case, we are getting only one equation with one unknown. So directly you can tell that a equals to ui. Okay, so in the second equation, wherever there is xi, it is h. Coordinate is h. So xi plus 1 is h, and this is h square. And these things are not changing. And wherever there is xi plus 2 for the third equation, so this will be 2 delta x. 2 delta x means 2h. So you are putting here 2h, and here it is 2h whole square. So this is the coefficient matrix, after simplification, and this is the right hand side vector and this is the unknown quantity. So you have to solve it for A, B and C, and this can be done in many ways. This solution for A, B and C you can do for many ways, but here we are doing it for the using the Cramer's rule. So you can use by Gauss elimination method for this case. So we shall show the solution by using Cramer's rule. So Cramer's rule is a direct method. So I think in mathematics course you have read it sometimes. This Cramer's rule you have used. So for practical purposes, when we are going for the real life of applications, we never use the Cramer's rule. But here it is a 3 by 3 matrix. So if it is a 3 by 3 matrix, 4 by 4 matrix, so 4 by 4 is also big, but we can use it. So then we can use the Cramer's rule. But if you are using a 50 by 50 matrix or a 6 by 6 matrix, 8 by 8 matrix, we don't use Cramer's rule. So you have to remember that Cramer's rule is a direct method we never use in CFD. So whenever we are actually solving CFD problem, we are never using Cramer's rule. So what is the reason? Some of you, I think many of you will know actually this Cramer's rule, why we cannot use. So when we are solving, so this is a matrix problem. Now I have told you in most of the matrix solution methods, so these are the diagonal terms, okay? So there is the step where you have to divide by the diagonal term. When you are finding A, you have to divide by this diagonal term. It will be modified. This will be changing, but with this you have to divide at some point of calculation to find out B, and same for C, okay? So it means that in your matrix operations, there are 4 basic operations: addition, division, multiplication, and subtraction. So these operations, how many times these major operations are performed, how many additions, subtractions, multiplications, and additions you have performed in the full inversion of the matrix and getting the full solution, that is known as the operation count, okay? So operation count, it is an order of magnitude value. So we represent in terms of the size of the matrix. So in this case, your matrix size is 3 by 3, okay? So how many operations you will perform, that will vary from method to method. And operation count we define for the direct methods, not for the iterative methods, okay? So when you are going for the Cramer's rule, the operation count becomes factorial of n plus 1. So if it is a 3 by 3 matrix, for this, all these steps, whatever steps we are following, I shall explain these things, whatever steps we are following, they will be factorial 3 plus 1 order. So factorial 3 plus 1 means 4 into 3 into 2, okay? So factorial 3 plus 1 means factorial 4. Factorial 4 means 4 into 3 into 2 means 24. So 24 operations you have to perform, and then you will get the solution. So what is happening that if the matrix is 4 by 4, just 4 by 4, so your operation count is becoming factorial 4 plus 1. It means factorial 5. So factorial 5 means 5 into factorial 4. Factorial 4 was 24. So your operation count is now 5 into 24 with 4 by 4 matrix. It means 120. So it was 24, and just by one order in increase in matrix size, your order of operation count, it is going from 24 to 120. Then if your matrix is 5 by 5, your operation count will be factorial 6. Factorial 6 means 6 into factorial 5. So it will be 720. It means that there is very enormous rise in the number of operation count when you are going for the this Cramer's rule. It means that it is not a practical method for solving a large scale matrices, or even if the matrix is 10 by 10, you cannot use. Okay. So that is just for information that Cramer's rule is never used in CFD. But for a small problem, we can use it. Okay. So let us come back for Cramer's rule. So first step in Cramer's rule, that we evaluate the determinant of this matrix. So this determinant we are finding here. Okay. And here after simplification, we are finding that this is coming as 2HQ. So delta, the determinant of this particular coefficient matrix, this is coming as 2HQ. So this is the final step of the Cramer's rule, that in the first unknown, this is A, second one is B, and third one is C. So what is happening, that this right hand side vector we substitute with the first column, okay, in the first unknown. So we have to, this is the method actually, this Cramer's rule method. So A divided by a determinant, this determinant where we keep on substituting the column. Okay, maybe this column we are substituting by the right hand side, depending on the requirement. This column we shall substitute by right hand side, and finally we substitute the last column with this right hand side. So now what is happening, that this is the standard expression. A by this determinant equals to B by other determinant equals to C by another determinant equals to 1 by delta. Delta is already found out to be 2H2. So this is 1 by 2H2. So when you are going for the first unknown A, so this 1, 1, 1, the first column, we are substituting by the right hand side. So these quantities are written in the right hand side. And in the second unknown, or the second column will be modified. So second column is substituted by this right hand side, and same for the C, we substitute with the third column. So if you look into this expression, you know that H is a constant. The right hand side is also a function of H. So A, B, and C, the coefficients of the polynomial, A, B, and C, the coefficients of the polynomial, they will be represented in terms of the nodal values. These are the nodal values, nodal, same thing, nodal value. So we are simplifying here. We are finding out the determinant. So A by this expression is standing for this determinant. Similarly for B by this determinant we are finding, and C by, from here we are finding that A equals to Ui. Okay, this is because of our assumption that this first node, it is matching with the origin. So Xi equals to 0. So we are getting A equals to Ui, and B is coming with a combination of Ui, Ui plus 1 and Ui plus 2, and same for C. But all expressions are different. Now, these expressions for A, B, and C, we can put into the polynomial formula. So this is the polynomial Ux, this is the parabola. So we are putting values of A, B, and C. Okay. So finally we are getting at any point for any xi, you can find out the value of the variable, local value. Now, if this is your general expression for the polynomial, then du dx at ith point, this will give you, this is 0. Now with x derivative, this will be 1. So you are getting this term. Okay. So du dx at point I will be this term. This is 0. This term is coming, plus x square will give you 2x. Okay. So 2 and 2 will be cancelled out. So you are left with ui plus 2, whatever is there, that we are writing here. So now we have to simplify here. So du dx at the ith point. Okay. So if you simplify here, du dx at the ith point, we are getting, this comes as minus ui plus 2 plus 4ui I plus 1 minus 3ui by 2h. Okay. So this is one-sided forward differential. This is with respect to point I, we are moving only in one side, only in one direction, only in the forward direction. Because of that, this is forward difference. I plus 1, I plus 2. You have taken second order accuracy. So this is having 3 nodes. So this entire quantity du dx at I, when we are getting this parabola u equals to a plus bx plus cx square, du dx at I equals to b plus 2cx. Now our I, at our point I, xi is 0. So this term will be 0. So du dx at point I is equals to b. So we have calculated b. B is this value. So du dx at point I will be of this expression. Okay. Whatever we have here, this b term will come. Okay. So here it is coming. Just one. So du dx, from here it is not b, actually it will be 2c. It is not b actually. So it is 2cx, but from here our x is 0. Since our x is 0, so this will be u equals to b. So du dx will be b. So du dx equals to b, and when you are going for the second derivative, d2u dx2, so d2u dx2 will be, if you see here, if you take d2u dx2, so it will be 2c. So this is a constant. Okay, 2c is a constant. C is a constant. So here d2u dx2, this will have two terms. So this is also forward difference formula because we are moving in the forward direction with respect to the ith node. Now this expression you already know. I have already given you the class note how to find out the second this first order accurate formula for the second derivative. So for the second derivative, if you have three terms, it means it is first order accurate. So these things you have to think actually. For first derivative, if you have three terms, it means it is second order accurate. But for the second derivative, if you have three terms, it means it is first order accurate. So we are directly writing it, the derivative as the first order accurate derivative. Okay. So this is just a preliminary example of the method of polynomials. So you have, now you know it, it is simple. So we have some more examples. Maybe tomorrow's class we shall discuss about the more examples. Now the same problem, we are using the Taylor's approximation. So we are just making some tricks in the Taylor's approximation, and we can find out that same formula will be achieved by doing Taylor's expansion for this derivative. Okay, so let us just show it that the alternate method is using the Taylor series expansion, find out the FWD formula accuracy 2 for the du dx. Okay, so what we are doing here, this is the standard Taylor's expansion in one dimension. From here you are finding this du dx formula. Okay, so du dx at point I equals to the forward difference expression plus the truncation error. This is the full truncation error. So in truncation error, the leading term is the d2u dx2, and then the coefficient of this coefficient, the exponent of the coefficient is giving you the order of accuracy of this expansion, okay, of this expression. Now the question is that you find out second order accurate formula, but if you take this term, so you are getting first order accurate formula. But if you are starting your truncation error from here, okay, suppose this you just do something to this term you already have, do something here, and you start taking your truncation error from the third term. This is the third term. Okay, then if this is your truncation error leading term, or the leading term, the coefficient h, it has the exponent of 2, so this will be giving you the second order accuracy. So it means that when you are finding by Taylor's expansion for the second order accuracy, you have to take the truncation error from the next term, not from the immediately neighbor term. Okay, so your truncation error is starting from here. So if you take it from here, you can directly write this expression is order of h square. Okay, so this is second order accurate. But here you have to do something here. Okay, so for d2u dx2, you have to use some kind of expression. For d2u dx2, you may have to use central difference formula. You have to use, I shall not say central difference because you are going for the forward difference formula. So for d2u dx2, you have to use some forward difference formula. But which, there are many forward difference formulas for d2u dx2, but which formula you will use? Because when you are writing this d2u dx2 by some formula, there also you have a truncation error. Okay, so in that truncation error, this is the first order accurate truncation error. So your terms will be like this kind of terms will be coming. Okay, now in this derivative, your coefficient is h. So when you are expanding this term in this kind of expansion, so you have a truncation error. So you are having one truncation error here, another truncation error you are having with this expression, and that truncation error will be with first order. Okay, so there will be some kind of h. Now there is one h outside. So this h and h of the truncation error, they will give you h square. Okay, so you are needing, so this will be h square. So what is happening that h square term, it will be joining here. Okay, so since this is only possible, so if you use the first order accurate approximation, Okay, so this logic you have to understand that for d2u dx2, you have to approximate by some differencing scheme. Now, which scheme you will use? You have already, with any scheme, there is a truncation error. Okay, now you have to find out the truncation error of order 2, and this is already having with order h. So this will have, if you are using truncation error of order 1, if this expression is simplified with truncation error of order 1, so order 1 means this will have h term will be there. This whatever be the leading leading derivative, you are getting terms like this h. Okay, so this h and h from here, they will give you h square, and then this h square term, it will come here. So it means that you have to simplify this term with the first order accuracy. So this is the first order accurate term. So for d2u dx2, you have to simplify this term with the first order accurate scheme. So this discussion we have made here. So just if you see here, we are telling that this is the leading term. Suppose this is our truncation error for getting second order accuracy. So if in this truncation error, this is the leading term, so the coefficient is h and the power of the coefficient is 2. So here in this expression, for this expression, power of h is 1. So the difference between this exponent and this exponent is 1. Okay, to get the second order accuracy, so this term you must have to expand only in the first order accuracy. You cannot use it with the second order accuracy. So minimum possible is first order accuracy. So when you are having this first order accuracy, so this term we have expanded here. So if we show it, things will be very clear. So this term, this d2u dx2, when we are using it as a first order forward difference formula, the truncation error terms are like this. So these are the truncation error terms. Okay, so then things will be very clear actually, that when I show the formula, so this is the expansion, this is the expansion, and that expansion is written here for d2u dx2. This is the expansion. Now the truncation error for d2u dx2 is first order. This is the truncation error for d2u dx2. So this is the leading term. With the leading term, the coefficient is h, exponent is 1. So this is h to the power 1. Now what is happening when you multiply with h, because we have one h here, okay? So when this is d2u dx2 and this is d2u dx2, these terms, but you have to multiply with it with minus h. So when you are multiplying it with h, so this h, what it will do, this h will be multiplied with all the terms, this expression plus with the truncation error terms. So this h and this h, this will give you h square, okay, and this will be h cube. Now the leading term in the original truncation error is d3u dx3, and this is also d3u dx3, and this is h square, and after multiplying with h, this will also be h square. It means that now we will have only one truncation error. So truncation error from this term, it will exactly match with these terms, and you can add them, you can subtract them, so you can get one expression. Okay, so minus h with this term, I am now multiplying to this expression. So minus h by 2 into this term, we are multiplying the right hand side with minus h by 2. Okay, so this, after multiplication, we get this expression, and now this is becoming minus h square by 2, and this is the derivative. So this is the truncation error term. So this is the leading term of the truncation error, and this is the coefficient of the truncation error of the leading term. Exponent is 2, and our question is find the second order accurate FWD formula. Okay, so we are doing, this is the FWD expansion. We are going only in the forward direction. Okay, so this is the truncation error of order 2, and this term now we are just substituting it here. Okay, so if we are putting it here, then we are finding that du dx at the ith node, this is giving you this formula. After simplification, this term we put here, you simplify with this term, you take them together with order of 2 truncation error, you are finding this expression. Okay, and this expression we also got already here. Du dx at the ith node is minus ui plus 2 plus 4ui plus 1 minus 3ui. the same expression we are getting. So it means that what we get by Taylor's method, we can get it also by the polynomial method. So these are the two examples. So there are some more examples. So in tomorrow's class, I shall discuss these things again. So regarding the quiz, you have to take the quiz by Sunday. So some students were telling that we can conduct the quiz on Thursday. And Thursday, they have just mentioned some timing of 8 p.m. online second quiz, and this is the last quiz. According to the new schedule, there is no third and fourth quiz. We have directly mid-term exam. Okay. So is it okay for all of you if I take the quiz on Thursday night? Thursday from 8 to 8:30, and up to tomorrow's class will be the syllabus. So just 1 minute, I just want to complete it. So this note I am sending you right now. So you must practice this note, and tomorrow whatever note I shall give, you should practice. So up to tomorrow's note will be the exam syllabus. After the first quiz and up to tomorrow's class. So mainly the finite difference things will be part of second quiz. So just to, I think the syllabus is, means the schedule is okay or not. Let us finalize it now.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
keep that one on Friday morning.
No. BTech students, actually, some students were telling that some of them are coming on Thursday, some of them are coming on Friday. So best thing will be that Thursday night. Some students actually messaged me. So Thursday, if I take at 8 p.m. or I can move it to 7 p.m. also, no problem. So you just let us finalize it now. So when will it be good?
Sir, Thursday night in the weekend we are traveling.
No, that some students are appearing exams now. Some students told that one, they have some exam or something. So in my opinion, Thursday 8 p.m. will be okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's
sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the syllabus you know it, and this note I am sending you right now. Okay then. Okay, thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
just a minute.
Yes.
Sir, I find it difficult to upload on Google Drive actually.
Then you mail me, no problem. You mail me, no
Okay.
problem. You can send by WhatsApp also, but you should send on.
Sir, it will be better to have a Google Classroom for that.
I tried actually. What happened in my last semester, I made these things, but somehow I was not finding the link. I don't know if how did it happen that I totally lost the link. It was without doing anything, the link was unavailable. So I thought that Classroom is better. Certainly, Google Classroom is far better. But I faced problem in the last semester. Somehow
Even we can have it in Google Form maybe.
it is actually the PDF files are required. No? Actually, what happened that I downloaded those files. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. For the BTech students, I was taking one course. So after the second quiz, I was not finding the link. Nothing. There was no trace actually, as if somebody hacked it and deleted it. It appeared like that. So you can you upload it in some folder. I shall share and mail me.
Sir, there's issue in folder. Actually, if we upload in the folder, everyone can see it. So maybe we can mail that. That will be much better.
Mail me, no problem. Okay then, thank you. Okay.